Welcome to Module 1, The Science of Anxiety. So really I'm going to talk about the brain because the brain controls everything that we do, everything that we think, everything we feel. Something interesting about the brain is that our brain has evolved and humans benefit from that highly evolved brain. It's given us exclusive skills in logic, imagination, creativity and empathy, among many others. But this has taken millions of years to develop, and the older, more ancient reptilian parts are still present as the brain has been added to and developed. There are different parts of the brain showing how the brain has evolved. There are three main parts of the evolved brain called the reptilian brain, the oldest part, the paleomammalian brain, which is the next oldest part, and the newest part of the brain, the neomammalian brain, which is the exclusive brain that humans have. But these different parts are basically trying to work as one brain, but it can cause problems because it causes conflict as they all have different agendas. The oldest and deepest part, the primitive or reptilian brain, is located in the brain stem, and its real agenda is survival. So those kind of key autonomic processes, muscle control, balance, breathing, heartbeat, feeding, digestion and reproduction. So the next part is the paleomammalian brain, which is the reactive part. That's a very fast evaluation and response system designed to keep us safe. And it's located in the limbic system. So this is where you may identify with when you're feeling anxious, that fight, flight, freeze response. Because the agenda is safety first. It's about survival. No time to think with other parts of our brain. It's about acting first and quickly. It also holds emotions like anxiety, also how humans started to evolve into forming groups, so belonging and fitting into a pack. So there are threats around those feelings of belonging, being in a group and trying to fit in order to survive. The amygdala lies deep in the brainstem in that limbic system. It basically scans for any threat or danger. So always on alert, always scanning. It's a real threat responder. So it's really useful in spotting and reacting to danger because it's better to be safe than sorry. So it's all about safety first. That's its priority, that's its agenda. So when this part of the brain perceives something as a potential threat, it triggers a cascade of neurophysiological activity that focuses its resources and attention entirely on keeping you safe. That's all it wants to do, nothing else, just about keeping you safe. The amygdala processes all information coming in from your five senses. So your taste, your touch, your vision, smell and hearing, and sorts this information into threat or non-threat. For example, a simple activity of crossing the road. You might not even be aware, but your brain is constantly weighing up using vision, hearing, just to kind of scan your surroundings and make sure it's safe for you to cross the road. If suddenly a car came towards you, that amygdala would act very quickly, causing you to jump into action and moving to get yourself safe. So it's a very action-focused part of your brain. The physiological activation is essentially fight, flight or freeze. So this is all responses to keep you safe, whether you need to fight the danger, run from it, or freeze so that the danger passes. You may recognise when you're feeling anxious or in danger. There's lots of body sensations that go along with it. For example, racing thoughts, dry mouth, feeling dizzy or lightheaded, changes to vision, your heartbeat might go faster, breathing becomes quicker. You may experience butterflies in the stomach and muscles that are tense and shaky. These are really uncomfortable sensations, but they're all there for a good reason. It's all about our bodies needing to get ready for that fight, flight or freeze response. So energy and oxygen needs to be directed solely to our muscles in order to take action. So the areas where you feel those uncomfortable sensations is just blood being redirected to the areas that it needs to the most. It needs to prioritise other areas of the body. So you don't need to be digesting food, for example, whilst you're needing to escape danger. So any sensations that you feel are all normal, despite feeling uncomfortable. So when we feel safe when we have those sensations and we can understand it, it can help take some of the fear out of the fear itself. So a good way to look at this response system is like having an internal smoke alarm. It's useful when there's a real emergency. It alerts us and we respond quickly. It's powerful and hard to ignore because safety is a priority. So having that system in our brain to spot danger and to take action to stop the danger is really useful. We can scan our senses and mind and take action. It's all about action, fast-paced, go, go, go. However, anxiety can become a problem when there's this false alarm. We know that negative information captures our attention, thinking and memory much more powerfully than does positive information. Just think about the news, for example. However, even if it feels powerful, it does not mean it's true or accurate, or that we need to react to it. Because that threat system is so fast and only focuses on the danger and threat, sometimes we miss out on the whole picture and the context of what we're interpreting. An example is that better safe than sorry approach, where we perceive a danger, make a quick evaluation and decide something's dangerous. For example, we might see a shape in the grass and we think it's a snake, but really on closer inspection, it's a hose. We will still react with a fear response just in case it was that snake. So a challenge that we have is when threat dominates our thinking. Although it's understandable that we would want to act to reduce and protect ourselves from threats, when we let our threat systems dominate, we're likely to act in ways that are disproportionate to the situation. And this process will often get in the way of things that we want to achieve. Another challenge of our threat system is that the limbic brain does not really have any concept of time. Past, present and future are all one of the same. This might explain why, say you have a dog, a mammal, it may greet you as though you've been gone for 30 years instead of 30 minutes. This also explains why people that have been through a trauma can feel stuck in the past. Because for them, something that happened 50 years ago feels as though it's happening right now. To that mammalian brain, where these crossed wires and balls of tangle are housed, 50 years ago is today. For anyone that's experienced a trauma and feels stuck, it's because those wires got all tangled up and stuck in the limbic brain. Getting stuck in the limbic brain is problematic because material was never meant to be stored here long term. Now, the newest part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, where complex thinking occurs. We can plan for the future, evaluate alternatives, think through consequences, hold abstract thought, solve complex problems, make intentional choices, reason, develop our self-identity and purpose. And this is special to humans. So what can happen is that our prefrontal cortex, this new complex part of our brain, can be hijacked by the limbic system in the event of a perceived threat, whether imagined or real. Our prefrontal can go offline as blood flow is directed to the deeper limbic system, the first responder on a priority one mission to keep us safe. So you may recognise your rational thoughts going offline. Think of a time when you've been in the midst of emotion and reaction, and it's so hard to step back and evaluate and see the options and apply rational thinking. And this is why that new brain is offline. We're focused solely on the danger and taking action to keep ourselves safe. And this can feel confusing and conflicting. We can feel really stuck and controlled by our limbic system. So it's clear that parts of our brain can conflict and have different agendas. It can result in one part being hijacked over others, even if we don't want it to. Maybe we want to be rational and balanced and think clearly, but sometimes we don't have any control once that limbic system has kicked in. It's all about safety and survival. So it's not your fault that you have a threat system. It's how the brain has evolved for survival. But it's important to learn skills to soothe your threat system. Armed with a better understanding about what your threat system is and what it's doing to your mind and body and what you can do about it, you will have more choice regarding how you respond to difficult situations that involve threat. So we can understand our brains, how it works, or sometimes doesn't work well together, in order to have more control over how we can respond. So in summary, our brains are hardwired for survival. Our brains are the product of thousands of years of evolution. When triggered, our threat systems are concerned with only one thing: survival. And we can inadvertently trigger threat with our own minds, in the absence of any real danger, just by imagining something. This is not our fault, it's just how the brain works. We can better support our brains and make it work more effectively by learning and practicing the right tools and techniques to do this. So have a look at the task sheet. If you have any questions, get in touch and just really make sure you fully digest and understand the information before moving on to the next module, which is understanding your own experience